Here we are on location for this week's Ask Ron. We are in Seattle, Washington.
Woohoo!
For Ron and I, that's a long way from home.
Yeah, and it's about 1:45 where we live.
Wow.
We've been traveling all day, and Ron just spoke.
I just spoke for the Reaps group out here in Seattle, one of the nicest groups in the country. Good group of people, you know, most of them.
Most of them. I like the price range here in Seattle.
And by the way, she did 3 deals tonight while I was talking.
It
Yeah.
was awesome. I like that one for 1.3 million.
Yeah, 1.3 value, 1.2 asking. Small down payment, small monthly.
Remember I said we usually get 30 years, and he said I can only give you 25.
That's true. All right, what do we got?
Okay, so the first question is from Laura in Colorado, and she asks, should I set up my self-directed IRA or my LLC first?
I'm not going to answer that, Laura, unless you send me some pot. Just kidding, Laura.
Oh, no.
First is irrelevant. You need a self-directed IRA like tomorrow. I mean, you can set one up with Quest for, what, $100. That has nothing to do with your LLC. And then if you're going to buy, if you're just going to buy one house, you don't even have to have an LLC yet. Or you could always buy it in a trust and make you the beneficial interest. But you'll need an LLC to do business in, so I wouldn't set it up if I'm not ready to go do business, okay? But get your IRA tomorrow.
And you're saying just get out there and get that deal?
Yeah, well, obviously if you don't go get deals, you don't need an LLC.
Okay, so the second question is from Brian Lucy, also in Colorado.
Got 2 chances to get pot now.
I think you have to go there to get it, Ron.
Okay.
So Brian Lucy's question is, he says he spoke with a suspect yesterday and the VA got some of the information for him, but was not able to get the loan information.
Mm-hmm.
The seller told Brian that the loan information is irrelevant,
Okay.
and he wants to know how or what can I tell him to assure him that it is relevant.
All right. Brian, you know our scripts are on the Gold Club site, don't you? And that default paragraph is one of them. It's something like this. Look, I understand your apprehension, but if I buy your house, I'll have to make you a monthly payment until I can pay you off in full. And obviously, I wouldn't know what payment to make you if I don't know what payment you're making underneath. So I'd have to know what your payment is to purchase your house. Now, if you're telling me that the only way you'll sell is with all cash, now I won't need to know your payment. And just for the record, Brian, if they won't give you the payment, you're not buying the house from them anyway. It ain't your fault, it's their fault. Move on. You can't make people do what they don't want to do. And if they won't give you the payment, no matter what you say, you're not buying their house. Agreed?
I agree 100%.
All right.
Okay, now Brian Lucy has a second question. He says, when writing up a contract, if the seller asks about the $10 or $100 deposit on line 1 of the contract, and he asks why I'm doing that and not putting down an actual deposit of more than $100, and it is a 0 down deal, how do I answer that?
How many houses you bought? 700?
Yeah.
I bought over 3,000. I don't think I've ever had a seller ever ask me about the deposit, but you probably will.
Yep, it would probably be you.
You need to quit worrying about all that crap and go do some deals and quit thinking up all this stuff, because I can tell you right now that has nothing to do with the real deal.
That's right.
And so the deposit is totally irrelevant, absolutely irrelevant. And if a seller were to ever ask you, how come you don't put up more money? Well, I don't need to put up more money. I'm going to be closing it very shortly anyway. What difference does the deposit make?
That's right.
Okay, so the next question is from Luke in Georgia.
Luke in Georgia.
Hello.
Ron, what do you think about doing the Pretty House terms business remotely and virtually? It seems this would be pretty straightforward with using software like DocuSign with the sellers. However, I am curious on your opinion dealing with potential tenant buyers virtually. In many
You can
cases,
answer that better.
Yeah, I was going to say, we live in Arizona, obviously buying and selling houses in Arizona. And we also buy and sell houses in Minnesota. That's where we're from originally. And our brother and my brother-in-law, we do about 2-3 deals a month in Minnesota. And yes, you can definitely set it up virtually. You don't have to live in the state. But
key, she's got boots on the ground.
boots on the ground, brother and brother-in-law.
If you don't have boots on the ground, you do not want to attempt it.
Right.
Somebody better be there to do whatever needs to be done there, and you can hire that actually, but I'd want somebody there I could trust, especially in my beginning days. So why don't you buy them where you're at before you worry about conquering the rest of the world? Because you got more to do right there where you live, and I don't really care where you live. If you've got more to do where you live, there's no reason to go anywhere else, honestly. I don't buy houses outside of Jacksonville for my own use, only when I'm dealing with students, and of course the student is the boots on the ground.
Yeah.
Okay, and the next question is from Janelle in Georgia as well.
Okay.
She says, I just wanted to get some advice on a prospective work for equity deal. The owners owe $270,000 in debt. It's a contemporary home in a really nice neighborhood, but the work is extensive. My question is there a limit to how much work a home needs for it to not qualify as a work for equity deal?
We
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, we love work for equity deals, first off. Now, is somebody living in the house? So you're asking how much, she didn't really say how much repairs it needs.
Didn't say what it was worth, didn't say how much repairs it needs.
Right.
But the answer is, you could always put it under contract and then put it out on the market and see what kind of response you get on work for equity before you close. And if you don't like what you get, then don't close it. But you should know what if you're going to buy it first, you should know what the repair costs are before you close on it, and be prepared to do that if you can't get a work for equity tenant buyer. However, there's got to be plenty of room in there, and you didn't give us a clue on that.
Yeah.
Now, I'll tell you what I do sometimes. I put it on the market. In fact, almost all the time I do work for equities. I let the buyer come in, and if they want something done that they can't do on their own, I'll do it. But that means I got to write a check for it, and I'll add 125% to the purchase price. But honestly, I don't think that's the position you're in right now. If it is really, 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 I mean, if it needs like $100,000 worth of work, you won't find a work for equity most likely. If it needs, actually, I've seen some houses that I've done work for equity on. I can't even believe somebody wanted them. I remember I did one a couple of years ago. It smelled so bad, I couldn't stand to go in the house. Literally, I opened the door and go, blast you backwards. And I'll be darned if a couple from right down the street that didn't come in and say, listen, we'll take it as is. So, okay, well, I sold it as is, but it shocked me too. You know, I can't answer that. I don't know what the house looks like. I don't know what it smells like. I don't know how much work it needs.
Yeah.
Only the market will tell you.
Okay. Now the next question is from Jeffrey Scott in South Carolina.
Jeffrey.
Can I put my personal home in a land trust? If so, who should I use as an agent to hold the trust? And what is the best way to set that up in the state of South Carolina?
Jeffrey, you probably should go on the Gold Club site and pull down the numerous lessons on land trust, because your question tells me you've not listened to a single one of them. First of all, you don't need any agent with a land trust, and to set it up, somebody has to fill out a deed and record it. By the way, I believe there is still a nice hour-long lesson on land trust on my website, I think. But if not, there's plenty of, right on the front page of my website, but there's plenty of them on the Gold Club. So go listen to all the lessons we post on there, and you'll get the answer to that question.
Okay. Now we have the final question, which is another land trust question from Vasil in Florida.
Okay.
He says, I purchased a property in 2006 inside a land trust.
Yep.
My corp name as trustee.
Yep.
And I am beneficial interest 100%.
Okay.
I have moved several times and relocated my files several times.
Right.
And somehow, all of my files, I cannot locate the particular one that it's time to transfer the
So
title.
he lost his trust agreement.
Yes, he
Okay?
did.
Don't need to worry about the deed. It's recorded on public record. You do not have to produce it. And if you lost your trust agreement, just go whip up a new one. Now, be careful now. The date on the trust agreement needs to match the date on the deed. So other than that, you just write up a new one.
Oh, okay.
Simple.
Well, that was good for him.
Yep.
Yep.
It's in your filing cabinet. Nobody knows where it's at anyway.
All right, so that concludes this week's Ask Ron.
So what are we doing next week, Ron?
We are going to be in Jacksonville doing 2 days on structuring your empire and then another 2 days on answering the phone. And those will be an incredible 4 days, and we have a full house, I can tell you that right now. And we're going to Iggy's
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
the first 2 nights. This crowd's so big, I'm going to split it in half. Take them to Iggy's. Can't come to Jacksonville without going to
That's
Iggy's.
right.
It's against Florida law. All right, so and next month we'll be in Vegas doing the Quick Start real estate school.
Yeah, we've never done one in Vegas.
Nope.
Las Vegas.
And may never do another one there. Guess I got to take my wife.
Oh,
Can't
no.
go to Vegas without taking my wife. That's going to be costly. All
Wow.
right, so
Uh-oh.
anyway, go out and get some deals going. Keep the questions coming. Those are good questions this week, actually. And we don't mind answering them, even at 1 o'clock in the morning.
That's right.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.